Hello and welcome. In this video, I am going to show you how I recently upgraded an old wheel from a 7-speed to an 8-speed Freehub. The first thing that you need to do is to remove the existing cassette. Now, this one has been off a couple of times recently, so I didn't need to use a chain whip on it, and I was able to remove it pretty much by hand. You are also going to need to remove the axle from the wheel. And this is simply a matter of loosening up the jam nuts on one side and just backing it off and removing it. It's not terribly complicated. It helps to have the right size wrenches, and as you can see, mine is not quite the right size, but I managed to muddle through anyway. One of these days, I am going to have to invest in a set of cone wrenches. For the time being, these regular open and closed wrenches, they're good enough, I guess. Now here's the thing when it comes to old parts. I tend to hold on to them, and it's not hoarding if you use them. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Seriously, I had this wheel laying around, and I have a use for it, but I need it to be at least an 8-speed so I can reuse an existing 8-speed cassette which I have. And this wheel, it's equipped with a 7-speed Freehub, and that's as opposed to a free wheel, which is an entirely different creature. Next, using a 10mm Allen key, you want to remove the Freehub from the wheel. Now, this is just like any other nut or stud. It may take a little bit of effort to get it going, but once it's going, it's just, Bob's your uncle. Remove the retaining stud and set it aside. You're going to need this later. Clean off any dirt or debris from the wheel hub. It helps to have a nice clean surface for just general principles, I guess. Now, I want to show you here. Note that the splines on the hub match the splines on the Freehub. There are different kinds out there, so when you buy one, make sure you get the right one. And then just reinstall the retaining bolt. Takes a little bit of finagling sometimes just to make sure that you don't cross thread it, because if you do, oh man, that's just going to be a mess no matter how you slice it. After that, easy peasy lemon squeezy. To install the new cassette, or in this case the new old cassette, first you need to find the thin spline on the external housing of the Freehub. This fits into a slot on the cassette body, which would have been much easier to find if I had not left my reading glasses downstairs, but that's a different line of discussion. Once you have it lined up, you just slide it in. Some people will grease the Freehub body. I prefer not to. It's just 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, from what I've seen and read. And again, I wish I had my reading glasses. Oh well. I'll eventually get it. Just be patient. Then I take the lock ring, put just a little dab of grease on it. A little dab will do ya, if you know the reference. And clean this off a little bit so that I can handle it. And being careful to avoid cross-threading again, because once you cross-thread something, it's not good. Hand tighten it with your tool. You notice mine's painted yellow on the end. The only reason I did that is so I can tell it easily in the box. And this feels about like 40 Newton meters. Yeah, sure. The last thing to do is to reinstall the axle. Now I'm obviously threading it through by hand into the cone, and then the retaining nut on the drive side. And it's really not a terribly complex process, but it can be a little fiddly if you don't have cone wrenches, which I don't. So here we go, we're fiddling. Now, a new wheel of similar quality to this Weinmann would run between $65 to $75, depending on where you're looking and availability and all that stuff that we're dealing with these days. But for less than $20, I was able to convert it from a 7-speed to an 8-speed to suit my needs and save a pile of money. Okay, so $40, $50 may not break the bank, but it adds up. I also like the idea that a fairly simple process such as this can take something that's old and functionally obsolete and give it a new lease on life, if you want to call it that. And I just like the idea of repurposing things and reusing them instead of discarding them. Below left is a link to a playlist of other maintenance videos that I've made, and below right is a link to another video which I think you'll enjoy. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate that. Goodbye and have a great day.